All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second it?
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Okay, so let's move down to board dialogue. I would like to thank everyone who was involved in graduation. It was such a wonderful success, and there was so much good energy in that room. There's so much energy, and it was all good. So I'd like to particularly thank Rhonda Ferguson and Jamie Lamons and Andrea Pruitt, Jamie Pollard, and of course the junior ROTC with Mr. Winiger and Mr. Heflin. The music from Linda Huck and Elliot Nays and Kevin Nicoletti, and the ever popular Coach Vaughn, who probably is going to run for public office since he's discovered that he is such a great public speaker. So, and Mr. Rubel, thank you so much. It was just a wonderful experience, and I've gotten so many compliments on it. So thank you all. Anyone else? Okay, well, let's move down to the audience. Anyone from the audience have anything to add to this meeting or bring to this meeting this evening? All right, Heartland Hero, Miss Jamie Lamont.
Too short. Is this thing on? No. I'm really excited about. Is it really on?
Yes.
Okay. It didn't sound like it was. The reason I chose a Heartland Hero that I did is because of. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because of the Renaissance program. For those of you who don't know what that is an opportunity for us to kind of honor the students that do really well at the high school. They can have 98% attendance. They can be on honor roll, or they can improve their GPA a point. And so we used to do this program throughout the year, but we've had budget cuts over the years. And so now it's just one big shebang. It's a big barbecue that we have at the end of the year, but we have no funding. So it takes the community getting involved to make this happen. And National Guard kind of stepped in several years ago and saved the day for us. And Staff Sergeant Carla Threlkeld heads that up for us. She started working with us on Renaissance in 2006. And she, the organization does, well, every year they buy every bit of the food. Every food, all the food that we need for those, sometimes 600 kids, they pay for it. But more than that, what I think Carla represents is she's there at that barbecue, rain, sleet, snow, and I really do mean snow. It snowed this year on Renaissance, April 19th, but that's okay. It was kind of fun. And so Carla gets in there, she cooks with us if that's what we need her to do. She's knee-deep in barbecue sauce, and she gets right in there with the kids, and she makes it about those kids. And I have really, really, really appreciated everything that she's done for us. And she's a part of this community. She gives back to it in every way that she can, and that's why I picked her for Heartland Hero. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You want me to
Feature
move on to
teacher.
feature teacher?
Yes,
All right.
please.
I'm really excited about this award. I've chose Carrie Montgomery, who's been chosen for the feature teacher this year, who's a former student of mine. So that's really exciting for me, which is happening more and more. Well, Shayna's a former student of mine too, but whatever. Carrie has been with us since 2009. She graduated from high school in 2004 and has been with us since 2009 as a teacher. And math has always been one of my weakest subjects. I'm just not good at math. It's been a struggle of mine forever. And Carrie can teach any child math. And I have sent her all kinds of students, and she always answers their questions. No matter if they're an IEP student or regular ed student, she is the epitome of a CWC classroom because she helps every student in that room. And she also has helped me with night school this year, and because those are some students that definitely struggle with math, and I have been able to rely on Carrie 100%. And when I talk to my kiddos that are going to go into night school, and I say Miss Montgomery will be there to help, they just go, whew. They're just so relieved that they're going to have Carrie in that room to help them. And Carrie's been a part of our community her whole life. She's always been here. And she loves that. And I think it's time for us to give a little bit back to Carrie. So our teacher is Carrie Montgomery.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm a little bit bigger than Mr.
Kevin.
Harrington. Okay.
Keep going.
What do you do, Chris?
Tour bus.
We can't afford that, you know we can't.
Yeah.
So Laura, while we're putting the furniture back together, how about featured staff member?
Take a little bit more room than Kevin did.
For the featured staff member this month, I wanted to recognize Leslie Hasty. Leslie is our school nurse at Lincoln Intermediate, and the reason that I wanted to recognize her, come up here, it's about you. The reason that I wanted to recognize her, really, I could have recognized any of our nurses this year. It has been a tough year for our nurses. They've all really had to pull together and take on some leadership roles that maybe they didn't expect to do. But the reason I selected Leslie is because she has done that and been a leader among leaders, and truly has been able to carry on our health services program for our students without missing a beat. And I think that's tremendous, doing that as ably as she has done that, and has provided the leadership for our new nurse as well, working with her as a mentor, and that has just been tremendous for us all. And for that, I think that all of our nurses, but tonight especially Leslie, deserves our recognition. You want to say anything?
No.
We have a plaque for you, Leslie.
Oh, wow, thanks.
And I think the board wants to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. She wasn't very happy with me because she didn't know when she wore jeans. It's all good. It's last day. Hey, Leslie, let me get you.
Okay, do we have any student voices this evening? How about CTA?
No.
Okay, so we're going to move, everybody saw the letters? All right, so we're going to move down to the superintendent's report.
Well, I think that Angie already mentioned the graduation, which was a huge success, but the end of the school year is going very, very smoothly. I was in buildings today. We're having school. It's a light area, but people are in attendance, and we're teaching until the last day. I think that's a real commendation to the school, and we're moving smoothly and very calmly out of this year, and we'll be into summer school very shortly, and that's a real credit to our staff. So just wanted to make sure that we knew that.
Okay. All right, so, does anybody have any discussion before Mr. Burns? It's not.
Can we discuss item F there?
Sure.
The brochures.
Oh,
I got a question about that.
sure, absolutely.
On those brochures, school district's gonna pay to have them printed, and we're gonna give them to the realtors so they can, prospective buyers of houses and everything.
Prospective community members.
Right.
People have been asking for those, I understand, the last couple of years. So we've been working on that, and the brochure, it makes sense to print it externally because the costs are lower than
Well,
having them printed
the
in.
printing, I'm not too much worried about that and everything. It's us paying for it, for them to sell the houses and everything, and bringing in prospective buyers of the community and everything. I'm kind of wondering why they couldn't work with the realtor board. They have their own group. Why they couldn't work with the IDA and the Chamber of Commerce to group together to pay for it. We've worked to put this together for them. Why they couldn't pay for the printing and everything.
It's really for the district. It's a directory for the district. It started originally with 3 years ago with realtors saying it would be nice if we had some decent literature that the district had.
Right.
A little bit different.
I agree.
And so that's really the extent of that piece, but when they showed the only material that they had that explained what was going on in the district were some Xerox copies of things that did not present our district in a positive light. So the booklet that's now there, that's only one of the places, any new person coming into the school district, it really is a vehicle for the whole district. They're not gonna purchase it. That was
Okay.
just one of the pieces that came forward.
Then I suggest we give that to, we give that information to Susan Richardson, who is the Welcome Wagon.
It will be, it will be.
Okay.
What- She came to me and said, look at this. So yes, that's another place that material
Okay.
will be.
Well, it's just saying that the realtors are one that, the way I look at
It's
it,
way broader.
the realtors, was wanting information so they can sell a house and everything, so, I mean, we're already getting the taxes off the house they're trying to sell, but we're paying for this and,
We
you know.
definitely, that would be a place that would be at the Chamber of Commerce, it would be in the schools.
right,
It's just a
because
vehicle
they're,
for
and the
all of us.
IDA, they're the one bringing these prospective people in, and they're needing that information, but since we've provided for them, then I couldn't see why they couldn't help us with the printing and everything, instead of us doing all the work and then printing it out, and we're giving it to them, and we know how, we're already getting the money for the taxes off of everything, but they're getting the commission and everything else, that why they couldn't possibly help us with it and everything, kind of a partner, if we're gonna be a partnership with it, then they can help us with it. And that's all, that was only my concern I had.
Will we make an electronic version available?
Yes. We have an electronics version.
But that's-
Also gives each school, will be able to put their sheet up on their location on their webpage and a whole holistic piece of
It
it.
is a nice document. to have
It's a
it
very
available
nice
online if they're looking for it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree about having that, it's just, if we're doing all the work and they're the one that's really gonna get the benefit, if they sell the house, they get the commission and they've asked for it, and they're not really, putting anything else out to help with it and everything, so that was only my concern.
Whoever put it together did a fantastic job. It's
Yeah.
very professional.
Yeah,
done,
like I say,
and
it's-
it's
it
basically
helped, like I
commended
said,
because
it'll help
you
the-
don't see anything.
No, the IDA, when they're bringing in
Yeah.
corporate
Yeah, I
people
mean,
in and out of state and everything, they can hand us over and tell them,
We've needed this
what
all
our
along.
school district's all about and everything.
but it's exceptional document, for sure.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so, are we ready for Mr. Burns?
I'm gonna sit and talk at the same time. One of the things that's kind of been an area of interest of mine is kind of a one-stop athletic website, activities website for the school, and I finally came across what looked like a right field for me, and the company with a Varsity News Network. Presently, what they do is they build the website for schools. Schools supply the information. They sync their website with the scheduling software that I use to build a nice informative website. And what they've done for us is a demo right now. Is a little bit of what the full product would look like. But the key information on this website is that everything that you really want to see or could find is located across this toolbar. There's something that's called Knights Headquarters. That's athletic department information. That could be directions to games. That could be direction to art facilities. It's kind of just a general information, anything about the athletic department that I could put there. Each individual sport has their own page. Not all of them are fully developed right now. They have synced the football website for me, and we can supply them pictures. It'll be football pictures. I had about 2 days to get them pictures, and I came up with as quickly as what we could. so that's why there's a basketball picture on the football page right now. But there'll be football pictures. The schedules, as I said, it's synced with my scheduling software. And you'll see each program, and this is just varsity football, but each program schedule will show up. The scheduling software I use, it's a private website, is linked externally to a website that since I went to this my scheduling software 2 years ago. The public website, in my opinion, has gotten harder to navigate. This is very easy to navigate for every individual sport. The freshman football schedule, the freshman basketball schedule will populate up when you get there. Each individual team, if we go back to the football homepage or whatever sport homepage, coaches can upload off-season workouts through a Google Calendar, camp information, information about the coaches, pretty much anything they want to upload. There's two different ways we can go about it. I can give them author rights, or I can give them editing rights. They can put it up, and then I can upload it for them. But pretty much anything the coaches want to put there. There's a dedicated middle school page as well. So middle school sports, that's one of the problems we have now with two separate buildings. People call them middle school. Now we can send everybody to one direct location for information. There's a section for forms, handbooks, release forms, travel forms. I've got the MSHA physical form. Some of these things are kind of already on our website, but they're in different areas. This puts everything in one central location. Over here on the photo gallery area, each individual team can have a photo gallery. So if there's Mr. Cozing takes pictures of football games, or if there's a parent who goes to a different sport and follows it, they can take pictures, we can upload it. There will be pictures, whatever sport we're taking, we can upload them, and each individual sport will have a photo gallery to publicize what we're doing. The way this worked with Varsity News Network, they own the website. We supply the information for it. They sell advertising, and right now this is kind of just general advertising across the top. They sell advertising, they give us approval on it. It has to be school appropriate, so we get final approval on what type of advertising. We then get a rebate based on the number of hits that the website gets each month. In talking with the sales reps, we're looking at somewhere the size of our school and the traffic, and talking with Corey a little bit in tech, probably somewhere in the neighborhood we'll generate $800 to $1,000 roughly per year in money that comes back to us. The initial cost of the website up front is $800, so after the first year the website will have paid for itself. And talking with Andy tells me we couldn't have done this on our own for the $800 that we're paying for it. One other neat aspect to it, and because our website's not finished, there's a part of it, it's called a press box app. Every individual coach will have an app on their phone or their iPad or whatever they're using at the end of the game. If it's boys basketball, the coach can be on the bus coming home and saying, all right, Don Eaton, or Farmington won 53-48, Don Eaton had 12 points. They're filling in a little chart on the app. We can score, Don, good job. At the end, at the bottom, any media source they want the score to go to, if they want it to go to Mr. Ribble and myself, they hit send. The score goal report goes to whoever they want it to go to. They even told me at one school, the dad lives, one of the head coaches lives like in Michigan, and the dad wanted to know what the score was right after the game. The coach was sending the score to his dad as a part of this app. But what the other thing it will do is it will create and I call it generic, but it's a news story, and it will give the details of the game, and whatever sport it is, it will go to that team's website. So there will be a little brief blurb on each game that the coach submits under the Press Pocket app. The other thing, they're linked to the RSS feed down here at the bottom, and you'll see any article that it probably most likely the Daily Journal then pulls up, and people can get a more official newspaper article on what we're doing. Two other things that are kind of 21st century technology wise, They are also linked in with Twitter and Facebook. We do not have a Facebook page. They are going to remove that part of it. I use Twitter to send out information. They're gonna link it up with my with my Twitter feed. So anything that I send out, and some of you may get those text messages, when I send it out, it'll also pop up on this website. So it's pretty detailed information.
Trying to give you a heads up for our overall proposal for a variety of pieces for our activities program for next month. It's exciting.
Pat, the advertisement, is that the local advertisers only, or is that
Yeah.
national, or?
Could be both. The company's branching out into this area. They're looking to hire a sales rep. I could see it. They're gonna ask me for recommendations on who to send them to.
Yeah.
We'll give them that list. You know, on some of the other finished websites that I've seen for other companies, it looks like there might be, I think there's 5 different ad panels. There might be 4 locals, and then a 5th more regional or national. One of the companies I saw had like a professional sports team. I can't remember if it was the Cardinals, but it was something like that, where it was a minor league baseball team that was in their area that was marketing tickets to this area.
Yeah.
You know, the athletic market.
Pat, explain a little bit, it was in your report about getting permission for the pictures and.
What we'll have to do, there'll be a FERPA release. You know, if you go back to the homepage, you know, there's pictures of kids across the top. You know, if a parent doesn't want their child's pictures to appear, then what we're gonna do once we approve this, or you all approve this, we'll include it in our sign-up sheet and one of our permission slips. And it'll give the parents the opportunity to opt out of having their children appear on this if they don't want them to be.
It's very exciting for our professional, our activities are very professional and very well done, but this just gives an image for that. I think it's also a great communication vehicle for alumni.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to see a finished product, let me know and I'll get one of the school, there's one that I've kind of been referring back to that's
Not
a
too much order.
up and running website. I can send that to you and you can kind of see what the final product looks like.
Well, I think it's gonna be better than what we got.
I agree.
Because right now, you can't, the only way you can find anything, have to go to the KFMO
I agree.
website
And this is,
to get
we're
the
trying to get
schedules.
something that's a little more streamlined with what we're trying to do. And we control the information as well. They own the website, but whatever we want to put on, we can put on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
I think it'll be great.
Okay, so we're moving on to discussion items, and looks like C, the gifted program evaluation.
Sure.
Madam President, members of the board, as you know, we evaluate most of our programs on at least every 2 years. Some are yearly. And it's time to look at our Gifted or Pages program again. If you were at high school graduation, you saw one of our esteemed Pages alumni accepting the valedictorian award. But I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you might have about the report.
I just had a couple. When Mrs. Massey and Mrs. Zertan retired,
Yes.
and there was a transition, and then things changed a little bit on how you handled the gifted program and how the instruction was going to be handled. There were several parent meetings at that time, and I know there
Yes.
was some concerns about the changes. Have you had any feedback from those parents or any contact with them?
We have, and we do a parent survey. We'll have one due again at the beginning of next year.
Okay.
And our gifted teachers also have parent conferences, and they've had meetings, particularly at the middle school level, just with the gifted teacher and the parents. As you know, we had a half-day program at that time. The one thing that we did change is that program began at first grade before. We went back and evaluated how many students actually qualified at first grade and how many referrals we had during that kindergarten year that would put us with the numbers we needed, and we found that it was pretty negligible. So we do a push-in program now with Miss Winch in first grade, give kids logics, puzzles, those kinds of things. She works with all of our first grade classrooms, generally in that second semester. And then we use the Terra Nova test to identify first graders in the spring of their first grade year, and they begin services in second grade. We have not really had any problems with that. In fact, we have more kids we still have a lot of kids that don't qualify with IQ and with achievement at first grade. That's just tough to take that kind of a test as a first grader. But we've had a lot of success with parents liking the system. Really, the biggest thing that changed was probably at the 5th and 6th grade level. We now have a designated time. Before, when we had a full-time gifted teacher in that building, kids had kind of the opportunity to opt in and out of classes to go down and be with that gifted teacher, and that has probably tightened up the most, where they have a designated time. There are other times that the teacher's available and they can arrange a conference time with her, but it's probably worked pretty well for the regular education teachers as well, because they know when kids are expected to be in that.
I just wondered if you'd had any parent feedback since that time.
So we've really had fairly positive feedback about the changes, and we haven't seen any diminishing of services other than that first grade students being served in groups starting at Christmas rather than being identified at the very beginning of their first grade year.
Thanks, that's all.
Thank you. Any other questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Now, we're looking at items H and I, which proposed salary schedule changes for classified certified. So, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Eaton?
I think, Don, you had mentioned last month that you might know a little bit, be a little bit closer to having some additional figures as far as we got closer to the end of the fiscal year.
I do, and I apologize for not having a handout, but as I explained to a couple of you, this is still a work in progress, and you're going to be doing some hires tonight, or making decisions on those hires, which will change those numbers again. I can tell you a couple things since the last meeting, and as I told a couple of you, the estimate I think I gave you last meeting for the movement and the raise with the estimated benefits was about $575,000. Right now I'm a little higher than that. I'm a little over $600,000. But what you have to understand is there are empty slots on our salary schedule right now that when we replace those, most of those replacements will generate some kind of savings, because generally it's a younger person who's replacing a retired person, for instance. So I do think that number may come down a little. So I still feel fairly comfortable with my original estimate of 575, maybe 600, as far as all the movement and the raises that are recommended. And of course, the other piece I'm tacking onto that as far as personnel would be the health insurance. The board paid amount did increase by about $15 or $16 a person as you approved. And so that estimated cost is going to be about $110,000. So I think, and I met with Matt this morning on this, so right now, at this point, we're looking at additional costs for next year for personnel, about $700,000, somewhere in that range, maybe a little more, that we can do. And I guess the advantage I have over the last meeting, and even though you don't have a handout, I feel a little more comfortable with it, because we actually put the April hires on, and I know that there's probably some more savings here. So we have, in my mind, I've advanced. I know you haven't seen the numbers, but I feel better about it because there's more information that I've been able to get through.
Good.
The other piece of this is our year-end projections, and I've got a little bit better handle on that, even though, on a $34 million budget, I still got to ask for like a $500,000 variance, okay? Because that's not, a lot of things can happen in these last 2 months, as I explained to Matt, and we still have some big numbers, even for May and June. We still have, even though I know now our payroll numbers and the state money came in for May today, we still have June state money, which is generally going to be more than what they flow through the remainder of the year. And we still have 2 payrolls that we run in June, plus the vendor bills we pay in June. I can tell you that I suppose most of you that looked at the bills for this month, there was a lot. There was a lot of technology purchases there. There was the payment to the Children's Foundation, some of those large things that in the past maybe we either didn't pay or maybe paid in June. So I'm hoping that will lighten the load in June a little bit. But I do, at this point, the numbers point to us having some kind of a surplus and finishing in the black this year. Can't tell you how much. I can tell you what I think it might be, but those numbers change daily. So, I think when we look at that, and we look at the fact that the board had designated that 15% stabilization amount, and keeping in mind that we have reserves of about 6.3 in operations, and the stabilization was about 4.7 million. So we really started the year with probably 1.5, 1.6 million above that stabilization that could be accessed without going against the board's policy. So I think that's where we are, and like I said, it changes daily. I'm not hearing anything from the state about next year as far as increased funding, but I'm not hearing anything about decreased funding, so I'm assuming it's going to be relatively flat. So, worst case, or maybe even best case, I'm hoping that we can finish here in the black and whatever would help offset that $700,000 increase.
Don, do you have any idea about when you would have, numbers that without really?
What I'll do, because for me, this is constant. It constantly goes. And after tonight's board meeting, whatever action you take on the new hires and the resignations, whatever, tomorrow morning, that's what I'll start populating in my schedule, which will change those numbers again. So it's kind of an ongoing thing. As long as we're still making those kind of hires, it's going to change those numbers. As far as the year-end projections, I told Matt, I said, the state flows through its payments the third week of the month. It usually runs between the 20th and the 22nd, depending on what day it falls on. So I won't really get that payment until probably like June 21st. But because, it depends on the grant money we request, but sometimes that June payment traditionally has been larger than the regular payment. So I'm kind of allowing for that as well. So it appears that we're going to end up in the black. Whether it's going to be enough to cover this $700,000, I can't tell you that. I can't give you that.
If we, vote to approve and everything, when will it take effect? Next year's budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because
So,
we're talking about contracts and work agreements for July
Right.
1 through.
well, my other question was, like, this year's, and everything, we didn't pass a budget until, in August and that. Would the people have to wait,
Well,
if we had to do it again? Well,
no, what we'll do,
but we passed the
And then you passed a revised budget.
revised budget, right. But we passed the budget that was the year before, just the same
And
thing,
that's
but,
typical.
right.
and once again, that's an ongoing process, and even though we basically talked to the principals and department heads, and we're holding those budgets at the same levels, for me, it's a constant thing during the summer. We're constantly looking for things that we can adjust. And there will be adjustments in some numbers. And that goes on throughout the summer. So even though at the end of June, you guys will approve a budget, it'll be our current numbers. And then hopefully in August or September, we'll present to you the revised budget that will have these salary numbers. But obviously, if we go with the salaries, we're locked into that.
Okay.
And if there's adjustments that need to be made,
Well, I just
we
didn't
have to look
want
over.
some people thinking that July 1st or July the 23rd, when they get paid, they know the new budget, but, it's that they think they're going to be getting a raise, and we're saying, well, we haven't passed the new budget yet, that you can't, you're not going to get it.
It's really no different than the tech plan that the board approved. I mean, you gave us a plan, you said, we're gonna spend this much. I've gotta find a way to put that in the budget. And whatever salary amounts or lack of salary amounts, that's gonna affect what I put in the budget. So whatever you guys approve, that's what we're gonna go with.
So if you approve it tonight, it's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is that the adjustment will happen in terms of, what your fund balance is looking like. And the thing that's really different, kind of coincides with you coming onto the board, is that we don't really have a firm handle on what the state money will be in a few years.
Oh, I
but we always
understand
do
that, but,
So we would
you know.
have a much stronger opinion at that point.
I think if we recall, didn't we put a little over 800,000 in the black last year at the end of June? So worst case, and I consider this to be a very worst case scenario, we basically spent that surplus that we banked last year. And I really don't think it'll be that bad. I think we'll have some money to offset some of this year. And I keep coming back to the fact that our staff hasn't had an increase on the schedules.
Oh, I agree. I'm all for it. I just didn't want, we get to the point and then all of a sudden they say, well,
Absolutely.
we're still looking at these numbers and everybody's thinking, well, I was gonna get it and everything, but we gotta wait another month and everything, so.
And yeah, once you guys approve it, it'll be there in the budget. It'll have to be there.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so, if it's all right with everyone, we have discussed 3 of our action items, and if it's okay, we can go ahead and make a motion to approve all of the action items unless someone has an objection to that. So do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? I think we're good. Okay, it looks like it's time to adjourn to closed session. Do I hear a motion with numbers?
Howard, no.
Show Howard the numbers, Dolores.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to 610.021, paragraphs 1, 3, and 13.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Thank you.
Davis,
Yes.
Han,
Yes?
Kane,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes?
Noble,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, I think we're good. All right. Thank you all for coming.